Over the years, I've come across more or less two different types of people. There are those who don't understand what principles are, much less do they have any, and in that case, their behavior is just kind of erratic and unpredictable. And then there are those who sort of understand it, but they're more concerned with getting the recognition that comes with telling people that they have certain principles that they know are traditionally admired and looked up to. And in that case, they're not really very reliable because you can't count on them to embody those principles at the times when it matters the most, especially when it's not convenient for them. So I think we all need to rise above that and be the type of person that not only understands what principles are, but also how to fully and properly embody them and why that matters. So in this video, I'm going to go through each of those aspects in that order so that hopefully we can at least get one step closer to accomplishing that goal. So to start off, what is a principle? I'd say it's mostly interchangeable with values, morals, and beliefs, but more specifically, it's a rule that you follow or a guideline that generally governs your behavior. So it could be, for example, that you will always treat others how you want to be treated. That's a principle. Or it could be that you believe in maintaining a healthy mind and body, so you commit yourself to going to the gym and watching your diet. Or it could also be that you don't believe in judging others on extrinsic things and instead only on what's on the inside. So you resist the temptation to give into bias or judge people on their appearances when you first meet them. But like I said, it's not enough to just say that you have a principle. To say that you are an empathetic or disciplined, fair person or something like that, and then just call it a day and bask in the accolades that people give you for having said that. That's the wrong way to do it. But if you want to fully embody those principles the right way, then there are at least 4 prerequisites that I'd say you have to follow. The first of which is, quite simply, to prove it with your actions, because actions speak louder than words, and most things are easier said than done. But more importantly, you do have to stay committed to your principles for as long as you possibly can if you want them to have any meaning or any value. Because what is meaning? It's essentially what something translates into. So if you saying you have a principle translates into you doing one thing one time and then you just change your mind the next day, then it doesn't mean anything because it translates into very little to nothing. But if you stay committed to it for many years to come, then it means so much more. And it's a similar deal with value. It's much harder to uphold a principle for the long haul than it is to uphold it for one day. So it's worth so much more when you believe in something. Now, as sort of an addendum to staying committed to your principles over time, you also have to stay committed to them, especially in those times when it's not convenient for you. Because if you don't, then you're showing that you're not actually the type of person that embodies these principles. You're just doing it because you've determined you can get something out of it. So you're not being respectful because you're actually a respectful person. You're not being empathetic because you're actually an empathetic person, and so on. Again, you're just doing it to serve your own self-interest. And that's not very admirable, not just because it's very easy, right? It's very easy to just care about yourself and not care about others. Selfish people are a dime a dozen because there are very few people who are selfless, but also because it's kind of deceptive. When you profess to having a principle, you're expected to be genuine about it rather than having an ulterior motive. And last but not least, you have to know why you want to adopt a principle before you commit yourself to it. Because much like anything else, if you don't, then you're just doing something blindly. In which case, you may very well encounter consequences later on down the road that you didn't anticipate that make it much harder for you to stay committed to it. But also because it goes back to that inauthenticity we just talked about, where the reason why you have a principle matters just as much as you having that principle. So let's tie all this together with an example that demonstrates empathy. So one way you could do it is just say that you believe in treating others how you want to be treated, and then you go out and you do that, and you do it one time, then you forget about it the next day because you realize that it's a lot harder than you anticipated, and you would much rather have the luxury of being able to, say, get mad at somebody when they don't give you what you want, all while expecting that they don't turn around and get mad at you. But another way to do it, which is the right way, is to say, no, I believe in being empathetic. I believe in treating others how I want to be treated because that's the only way that I have any credibility. That's the only way that I have a value proposition, and it's quite simply the right thing to do. And then you go forth and you carry that with you in everyday life consistently for many years to come, in school, at work, at home, and amongst your friends. So we've talked about the what and the how. Now let's talk about the why. Why does any of this stuff matter? Why should you have principles? And I can think of at least 2 different reasons. For one, it helps keep your behavior more consistent, which means that if you're trying to achieve something that requires dedication, then you're going to have the willpower to do that. So if we take the principle of maintaining your fitness, for example, then you can trust that you're going to go to the gym every day for a long period of time instead of just going once and giving up after that because it's too difficult. Consistency also makes you more trustworthy, because if you say or do something that makes somebody feel like they can trust you, then they know because you have principles, you're not just going to change your mind tomorrow and become somebody that they possibly can't trust. So if, for example, one of your principles is that you believe in maintaining the privacy of others when they confide something in you, then they're going to feel comfortable taking your word for that and confiding in you, because they know that you're not just going to change your mind tomorrow and go around proliferating that information to everybody else. And lastly, principles define who you are. It's how you distinguish yourself from everybody else. Because if you don't have them, then what do you have? And the answer really is nothing. So if you're not a disciplined or loyal or humble person or something like that, then who are you? And really, you're nobody, because you're just an empty vessel that doesn't stand for anything. So to summarize, establish a good set of principles for yourself, know why you want to adopt them, and stay committed to them for as long as you possibly can, only changing and deviating if you have a very good reason. Knowing that that's not only going to keep your behavior consistent, which in turn gets you results and makes you more trustworthy, but also knowing that it defines who you are, which is how you distinguish yourself from everybody else. So if this helps, let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.